I would like to extend Malaysia's heartfelt gratitude to the government of Azerbaijan for your warm hospitality in hosting COP29. Your efforts in bringing us together for this critical dialogue on climate action are deeply appreciated. A lot can change and happen in a year. The last time we convened, monumental decisions were made, mainly from the global stocktake exercise concluded in COP28. Back home, we followed up on these efforts. We launched our National Climate Change Policy 2.0 this year to integrate recent global developments and other national policies. This document outlines our pathways to achieving our nationally determined contribution target of a 45% reduction in economy-wide GHG emission intensity by 2030 relative to 2005 levels, and bringing forward our commitment to reaching net zero by 2050. We are also committed to delivering our first biennial transparency report by 31st December 2024 to fulfill our obligations under the enhanced transparency framework. To ensure we can effectively deliver this initiative, we are enacting a climate change bill which will enhance our climate change governance and facilitate the fulfillment of other obligations under the Paris Agreement. We are also finalizing our national arrangement to operationalize Article 6 of the Paris Agreement for the private sector. To reduce emissions more effectively, Malaysia is committed to implement a carbon tax in 2026, as announced by our Prime Minister in the 2025 budget. We have also transitioned from blanket to targeted subsidies with regards to electricity and fuel, so that the rich are no longer subsidized with regards to their carbon emissions. Malaysia likewise acknowledges our role as a custodian to the natural resources bestowed on our country. As one of the world's most mega-diverse countries, we have 20% of all animal species, forests of over 100 million years old, and part of the Coral Triangle. We are committed to sustainably managing our biodiversity, and this is an asset in our fight against climate change. We are also proud recipients of the Global Climate Fund to assist in our National Adaptation Plan. As you can see, our recent efforts have shown that we are fulfilling our responsibilities, although we contribute less than 1% of global emissions. Thus, we remain steadfast in upholding the principle of common but differentiated responsibilities and respective capabilities as enshrined in the UNFCCC, especially at this critical juncture. The world is now at a crossroads in the context of financing. Although mandates and resources are available, there continues to be divergences in the common understanding of pooling and mobilizing climate finance. It is galling to see how developed countries spend trillions of dollars to fuel war and conflict, while the global south is denied more funding for climate action. Thus, we call on developed nations to fulfill their responsibility to provide climate finance and ensure that this funding is accessible and impactful. We also call on those who are more than capable of leading to set more ambitious goals that can significantly elevate our efforts against climate change. If more funding from developed nations are forthcoming, Malaysia will be able to do much more. Currently, we are in the midst of formulating our third generation NDC, which we commit to submit next year. We expect this to be more ambitious, and appropriate means of implementations are crucial to ensure that this goal can be realized. Thus, we believe that these resources, along with participation from the third sector, can propel actions to realize the visions that we have set when Paris Agreement entered force in 2016. In this regard, we must come to the necessary understandings to avoid a path of inaction. However, we recognize that countries cannot fight climate change in isolation. Embracing multilateralism is paramount in this cause. As we gather here, it is imperative that we recognize that progress in our negotiations must advance more rapidly as time is of the essence. As we look ahead to the conclusion of COP29, we expect it to set a clear and ambitious pathway that will influence negotiations in COP30 and beyond. Our decisions will shape the climate landscape for years to come, and we must seize this opportunity to strengthen our collective resolve. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency. Now it is my pleasure to